This shit hype as fuck. It's up. Things is registering. Things
it is
coming through. I think it's just like
coming through. I don't know why it's this.
I don't know. It'd be like
who be touching shit
a little bit, cause like it just don't be sounding.
Touch my goddamn thermostat.
Kind of. It do kind of sound like feel like touching the thermostat. I feel like Daft Punk got money, but
you feel like.
Yeah, I just feel like they don't need to sue me for this, for just playing their shit. Like
they think about the top songs that they've had and the magnitude of what those songs accomplished.
That was half the reason why like I decided to listen to play this, because I remember when I first I think I found like this shit. I think I like initially started like just listening to them like in high school. And then I remember seeing like the fucking that whole whatever that album was, which was actually I think this album where like they did the whole thing and it was like an anime series and they were like aliens and shit or whatever the fuck. And I remember seeing that shit and I was like, these motherfuckers are like fucking amazing. And then I realized like you hear these songs everywhere. Like you hear this shit on commercials, you hear this shit in shows, you hear this shit in movies, and I'm like, these niggas have such an amazing life.
That's where the bag is. Like getting your songs in big company commercials.
Fucking wild. And then you come back and then you drop a just unnecessary fire album with arguably one of the greatest producers to ever produce.
I wouldn't say it's argue. Who you gonna argue is?
I don't know, man. People always have personal preferences when they come to this shit, but like honestly, I don't know who's fucking with Pharrell. Like, you know, people come to like when they get like, you know, popularity wise, when people talk about sounds, you know, you throw Timbaland in the bag because Timbaland just is a freak of nature. I don't know.
Which is great, but even greats say that Pharrell is like genius level when it comes to.
Yeah, it's like he doesn't make sense when people talk about him. Like he's like it's like, oh, he freaked that sound, and then they'll talk about Pharrell like he just made a sound that you didn't know was the sound.
Right.
So yeah, I don't know.
Versatility. Like everybody is good at their sound, and everybody can be a mastermind with creating what they do. But him. Yeah. He's one of very few where they be like, oh no, he can whatever he feel like creating, he can create it.
And and you forget I have forgotten a lot of just like which ones were his sound, because I think sometimes he's good at like, you know, sometimes you hear an artist or hear even a producer and be like, that's that person's sound. Pharrell has done some shit and you be like, that was him. Like, yeah, no, he made some shit that was specifically for this person or some shit he just pulled out his ass. Like, it wasn't, you can hear shit and you might be like, that was like the Neptune sound or that was the Pharrell sound. Right. And then you hear some shit like, oh yeah, Pharrell produced that. And you're like, that don't sound like, what the fuck you mean he produced that?
But even then, that's kind of what I was going to say. Like, he has different sounds for different time periods and different projects. Like, you're like, oh, this is a Neptune's beat. I know this is a Neptune's beat, which is not the same as a Pharrell beat, which is not the same as an NERD type song, which is not the same as a pop Pharrell song. Like, if I want to do it, I can do it. And if you really sit back and listen to a lot of his things, you're like, you know what? That does sound like a Pharrell beat when you really break it down.
Shit's amazing.
Just the ability to be versatile while authentically being yourself at the same time. That is where the bag is.
Those are the vibes.
Those are the vibes. Welcome to Just a Dope Ass Podcast here on this wonderful sunny Saturday evening noon. Saturday. Yes. Welcome. Welcome. It is. I can't wait. I spent the whole day lying around being a lazy ass. Saturday night come, I'm going to go and be a hoe. Like, that's typically what Saturday songs end up being.
That's lit.
Like Friday songs is like I spent the whole week dreading everything for this one moment to finally get off work and go enjoy myself. Saturday songs are like, I'm not doing shit. I'm not worth shit. I'm not about shit all day until the evening comes. And I'm going to step out and I'm going to just be impeccably fabulous for the remainder of the evening going on until Sunday.
That makes me think, like, if Gary Vee was always the Monday guy from Jump, or if he developed into that. Because I could imagine him, like, if he was this level, get it? Monday, take on your, like, back, you know, in like the 80s and 90s, they was like, shut the fuck up, nigga. Like, like nobody was on these like positive kicks and shit. Like, it was just like, we all hate the week. That's how it goes, man. We all hate Mondays. We all dread that shit, and Friday's the shit. And he comes out like, hey guys, you know, wine and Mondays are great. And I'm like, man, shut your ass up, guys.
I'm gonna go on a I don't want to say a deep dive. I'm going to go on a ledge. I'm going to go on a ledge. I'm going to go on a ledge here, and I'm going to say football players created Attacking Monday. Of course, I'm a little bit biased. I'm a little bit biased because I am a football player. But our games are specifically Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. So Monday, whatever has happened over the weekend, Monday is your day to like, all right, we are preparing for the next team. Forget whatever happened this past week. Monday is the start of preparation for this next W or to get over this loss that we just had or whatever the case is. So you have to attack Monday. Everybody else is like, oh, fucking hate Monday. Football players is like, I don't have time to hate today. Today is like, I had to start preparing for this week's game yesterday.
That's a good point.
Thank you.
That's actually, yeah, I guess.
You're welcome, world.
Yeah,
football Americano, not the football with the U. I don't. They practice and play.
Not the football.
Not the football. Another wild thing. I know, like here we know the difference. Like football, soccer, and football is American football. I didn't know until this year. I don't know why this randomly popped in my head again, but like this year I was like, holy shit! Like they have college football. In Mexico. Like we attribute football to being soccer. They have university team football there where people get scholarship to be American football players.
Now see, to me that opens up a can, because I've thought about this, you know, I used to think about this solely from the perspective of, you know, when you think about, they talk about like Hall of Famers and shit in any sport in America, and it's like I can only give you the big dick respect, you know, maybe past 1940 or 50 or so, because, you know, when it was just such and such, it was the year of 1920, it was no black people out there. So how great were you?
Right.
Like you can give Peyton Manning, you know, you can give Peyton Manning his fucking flowers. He played, you know, Warren Sapp had to bust his ass and he had to make it.
Right.
You can give Tom Brady and everybody else they shit. So even to just kind of parallel that to like America be like, we're the greatest football teams in the world, and it'd be like, because there might be a motherfucker, you know, in Barbados who just never has played but might be the most amazing wide receiver, but that's just not a sport that's popular in his country. It might be a motherfucking linebacker from Germany that'll bust your shit.
Right.
So
and like looking through it, they have a pipeline for like college to professional football there. And there's like they pack out stadiums, which was a surprise to me because I was like, I know, you know, quote unquote Mexican community, I know they like football in America. I know they support the teams here in America. Mm-hmm. But to see like watching multiple clips for years, like they've had championship games. Now, granted, it may be, say, 8 teams or 8 different colleges, maybe 9 different colleges that have teams. And it may be the same 3 or 4 that are fluctuating at the top. But they pack out stadiums for football. Kids is getting scholarships the whole night.
That's fire.
All Mexican, like it ain't like we going over there like, you know, Jerome from Compton decide, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to this college. Like, nah, this is all Mexican community people.
I'm dead serious. Like if, you know, if that was to spread worldwide, I could imagine like, you know, such and such from, you know, top recruit headed to Alabama as a motherfucking D tackle. And I'm like, now you good and you've been playing your whole life, but I was like, if we could teach this motherfucker in Senegal who's knocking niggas' heads in the sand how to get in a 3-point stance, it's some shit. It's some real shit in the
It's
city.
a whole lot of people that may not be the top Senegalese wrestler, but if we put some pads on you and work on your footwork a little bit, you are going to smack
a fucking
fire
problem.
out
It's
of people.
a fucking problem.
But the being exposed to that is kind of like, I mean, at the end of the day, we all know like having the exposure to certain resources, certain mindsets, certain things definitely can expose you to different opportunities. There's tons of people that know about basketball all over the world. When it comes to football, it may be a little different. Now, granted, we have professional leagues all over the world in Germany, Australia, China. You know, a lot of them, quote unquote, major companies or countries, not companies. Major countries have football, or countries that have rugby teams. They typically have the same type of football we have. We just may not know about it. I know about it because, of course, within the football world, at some point, if you're not going to the NFL, you start looking overseas and all these other options. Like I have friends and former teammates that have made a career playing overseas or in Canada or things of that nature. So you start to figure out like, oh, I ain't even know this country. Like football is pretty big in Germany too. Australia has a decent league. China has a league too, which is a surprise to me. I didn't know that at first until I was going through the process of like different countries contacting me to try to get me to come play for their country. It's like, damn, all these different countries really, they have a serious staple. It's like, how many, granted, I don't have no African teams or no leagues. There's quite a few countries that have a football with a U stadium, but they're not packing it out. They don't have the resources to even practice how they would need to or really have a sufficient team. Like they got to treat it like a part-time job. Like we're going to come and practice after work. Yeah. And we're the country's team, which is kind of a sad situation. Some of them actually have a pipeline from like the country team to, like your local team to a country team. But it's crazy how like so many different countries have the ability to do the same shit that we do. They just don't have the resources to really participate in it like us. And if we just take that bitch, like I said, you go to Senegal with some pads and helmets and say, hey, I got some things for y'all that's going to help change this community a bit.
It's wild shit, man.
Just barehanded, old school. I guarantee there'll be some dudes out there, old school, ain't got no gloves. I just tape my fingers. I just put the uniform on with some regular ass cleats, and I'm just.
It's a trip how America just like I don't know if it's you call it manipulate the narrative or if it's super good, but just a trip how things that nobody else gives a fuck about we've flipped to make popular. Like shit like nobody cares about football. I mean, like they care about it now, like Achilles we've discussed, but in general we're like football capital of the world and not paying attention to soccer, which is like the biggest shit worldwide. We use shit like not using the metric system, which is the shit worldwide. And I just be sitting there like, America's really wild, nigga. Like, we just not gonna do it. We're gonna do this.
Because we're the country founded on a bunch of misfits that didn't want to follow instructions. We don't want to do what the fuck y'all talking about, so we gonna go start our own shit, and then you go somewhere else and fuck up they shit too.
We're the leather jacket wearing idiots of the world.
Basically. We are the fucking what's that shit called? Damn, I'm gonna be mad that this word is not. I was gonna say misfits, but it's not misfits. Oh, I'm gonna be mad. Misfits sounds like hooligans. We're the fucking hooligans of the world. Like we just completely rebellious. We want to do what the fuck we want to do. Granted, that's not all of us. I'm talking about the creators of this.
Yeah, it's like
business here.
It's like the overall, like it's the PR of America. Like you guys are dicks. Like I promise you, man. Like we're not.
But yeah, it is a narrative because even like when you think of being different and football is the focus here, football and basketball are the focus. America's team is the Cowboys. They say that America's team is the Cowboys. Ain't won shit in forever. But because it's big white Texas, this is the team that we're all going to pay attention to.
They're dedicated. Like every year, it's like this is gonna be our year.
I mean, that's every team. Because I mean, here in LA, we've always had the Raiders. We don't have them anymore. They're in Vegas now, betting on themselves to lose, whatever the case may be. But you go into like blue collar cities, like say Pittsburgh and Cleveland. Teams haven't done much in a while. Like, granted, the Steelers they're up and down. They at least have decent seasons. Mm-hmm. The Browns are just now starting to kind of be decent again.
Wow,
it's been a while, but these are blue collar predominantly brown skinned folk areas, and they ride or die for their team. But the team is even built on the blue collar. I come with my lunch pail. Stereotypically, I just want to grit it out and fight and try to get a W.
You know, and I think it shifted in the NFL. This is what really fucked up things. I thought about this because they were, there's clearly mad fucking, advertisement for the fucking Super Bowl. What's that, like tomorrow? And
Oh shit.
yeah, I think it's tomorrow. And they were doing this thing where they're like, NFL Films is talking about like Al Davis and the Raiders when they were like the shit, coincidentally, as you said that. And I thought to myself, I was like, you know what really kills teams? This is what used to, I think, make teams the best, because they don't have that nigga going like, the autumn wind. Like, if that nigga talks prior to you doing anything, you go fuck it up. And it was, if he's like, it was a cold January in 2021, you'd be like, oh, we got to, nigga, take it. What? Everybody, it would be like, I don't know. I feel like if he speaks about every game, somehow everybody's going, it's a mass Royal Rumble Super Bowl, because I don't think you can lose if that nigga's discussing what you're doing.
That used to be great. Like, I grew up watching those videos.
Yeah, no, I remember in high school, I remember getting up to go to practice like in the mornings, and my ritual would be to cut on the NFL Network, because that's when they were doing the old school NFL Films replay, and it would be a bad day, because they would always like kind of replay the same shit, but it was a bad day when it was that nigga, and then they would be replaying like clips of him like quoting Lyle Alzado and fucking Jack Tatum and shit I was like, oh, somebody got to die today. Like he'd be like, and, Jack Tatum, one of the most lethal and then they would cut to an interview and he's like, I apologize for what happened to him, but I played the game the way I played the game. And I'm like, it's who dying. Let's smack everything.
And nobody pretty. Nothing.
You got ugly jerseys,
long ass pads on forearms, and people are just knocking each other's teeth out.
Disgusting.
For $100 a game, damn near.
Yeah, it was
different times.
That was a dirty group of people. Like, and everybody was a dirty group of people. It'd be like, it was not to say that like, it's football. Everybody's a fucking badass, but you would hear shit like, like I don't know. The Raiders always have the mystique of being like just fucking murderers, but it would be like, you hear some shit like now, it'd be like, now it's like, oh, the Chargers are cool, they're getting back to whatever, but the Chargers of like 63, like it was Long John fucking monster killer James, and he was a killer. He was a fucking certified mean machine on the Chargers, and you'd be just like, what? And
a lot of them hated each other in real life. I get on the field, and it's not just like a tackle. Like, I'm slinging you by your neck.
I hate you,
I'm
bro.
slamming you into the ground. Really, I see why that generation has, some CTE issues, since, we are a mental health focused podcast show. I can see why. I think this generation, as they age, will be a whole lot better, even though their behaviors are a little bit more extreme sooner. But in comparison to the olden days,
nigga said, it's the Super Bowl. Take this finger. Like,
take it off. I don't need it. I don't need it for the rest of my life.
You don't think that I think we got it. Take it off so I can get back out there.
Do you don't want us to just like put a splint on? No. Cut it off.
Yeah, take it off.
As the sooner you can cut the rest of this finger off, the sooner I can get back to the game. Oh.
That's what I feel like it's sometimes like it was probably just not even that they might have been like not good coaches, but you people like Mike Singletary being a coach and you being like some like regular, you're a good athlete, but you're already at, when we're coming up, you have, in our age bracket, nigga, it's motherfuckers who were coming in. It's like, I'm good at football. I can make a good living. I can maneuver this businesses. You're coming into the league and Mike Singletary's like, get out there and die and then get up. And you like, what? Like, this is my career. And he's like, bitch, niggas was really like, I knew a nigga that popped his shoulder in and then, the bone was out. We just taped that bitch up. And they're like, nigga, I got a family. Fuck you. What? What the fuck y'all talking about?
Football is family, goddammit.
Y'all in here talking about families, motherfucking. It's like,
you talking about livelihoods.
Yeah, and I just feel like, they probably, like, not to even take away his football mentality, but I just feel like niggas like Mike Singletary and back, you just couldn't be a coach, because it's just like the requirements are different. Niggas is like, I want to play this game for as long as I can play. Then I want to go start, a couple ice cream chains. And Mike Singletary is like, nigga, I want you to die on this. We're going to war. And they're like, Mike, You got a teddy bear on your like where like it's bears. Like it's you see that mascot? That nigga's roaring in the crowd. Fuck you, we die out here. You can't coach. You gotta go kiss your fucking.
You can be the motivator before the game.
Yeah, like,
you can do the speech after the game, but to create the full mindset of how we're going to approach this thing, not to say by any means, because football you definitely can't be soft. Like you have to have somewhat of a killer instinct. You have to be aggressive. It just comes with it in any sport, honestly. Not all sports are contact sports, even though like they say basketball and stuff is a contact sport. It's mildly debatable, but okay. But every sport you have to.
Oh, these elbows. You 6, and then it just. I'm sorry, I had to even cut you off, but it just because when you watching TV, you just sometimes don't register. This nigga is 6'8", and there's no such thing as a small 6'8". It might look skinny in comparison and get television, but when you register like. This big motherfucker slid across this ground, and now you gotta have this 5'3" little boy run out here top speed to try to clean up
the floor.
Yeah, I gotta clean up 7 feet of space in 3 seconds because you an elbow, bitch. What?
A lot of it is flopping. Now, granted, we got flopping in the NFL now. Just it's a chess move. Sometimes you have to do it strategically to be able to get that extra 10 yards or get that couple free throws, whatever the fuck you doing it for. I get it. It's a chess play. It's a mental mindset situation. But still, like they get poked in the eye and it's like, oh, I gotta go to the locker room. Not to disrespect basketball players, because I've been poked in the eye, but that's what gives me. Like I've been poked in the eye in MMA and kept fighting mid-round. You just can't see, and you got to try to blink that shit through, or she gonna get knocked the fuck out. So you have to. I ain't no timeout because I got poked in the eye. I have to keep doing this. Football, people have. That's why I start wearing a visor. Fingers come through face masks because especially on the line, you gonna have some dirty ass O lineman whose hands is gonna be all up in your shit, and this nigga's.
People.
Just the grimiest, and I can't say shit because I was starting off an O-lineman, so I have part of that in my soul.
No, I respect. I enjoy it.
I enjoyed being a dirty motherfucker, but I know
nigga.
Once I got to the defense, I was like, I know these dirty motherfuckers. What you gonna do? Like I'm wearing a visor. Why? Because I got poked in the eye repeatedly. I got scratches on my. I have a helmet on and a face mask. Why am I getting scratched on my face? Why is my jersey torn? Why?
Captain fucking Insano.
Like if you've never played that's contact. If you've never played football, that's contact sport. And even like say rugby, they look at us like we pussies because y'all wear pads, you bitches.
And it's not even like oh you would think that because people you see niggas playing just in general like maybe park shit, and you could tell when people like kind of adjust how to make a tackle because you don't have pads, and you realize. Nah, man, rugby niggas like I will literally shatter my motherfucking clavicle to knock this nigga the fuck out.
Right.
Like, them motherfuckers is different.
They are definitely built like wrestlers, like short, stocky, and powerful, monstrous quad muscles. Just
honestly, I feel like in America, in American football, like the also sidebar, like take this motherfucking Good News Sports, like just, fuck you guys. Look at us, bitch.
Deep dive into sports.
Yeah, but if I'm like here in where they say like the which actually I didn't realize like I really enjoyed that position, but like the way of the fullback is dying. In rugby, it's like an ocean of fullbacks just crashing into shit. If I had I had a player, or if I'm a coach and I had a player, if I had like a son and just like motherfuckers fullback, and that's just I'm immediately as soon as we like get through about college ending, I'm like, you still want to play? Well, yeah, I'm like, bitch, we're finding rugby everything. Like,
I mean, you can also have that transition because it's been quite a few like running backs and fullbacks that have come from rugby, ain't never touched pads before in their life, and the NFL be like, hey yo, come over here and get this $1 million for a little bit. We use you for a couple years, see what you can do. So either way, it's like a direct pipeline between the two. So it's doable. Either way. With that being said, for anybody out there listening that plans on like maybe you want to procreate with one of us, our kids are going to do violent shit because it's a teaching skill and it helps you mentally, physically, and emotionally to play on a team level and to do violent games and sports.
Yeah, I think about that because like I know in my heart I'm like fucking be violent, motherfucker. Like I want to see. I want like like, I know everybody's nowadays, and I know this is like a mental health space, and everybody's like, kumbaya, high five, you get a fucking 10th place award. But I know I got it in me, like, fuck you and fuck your dirty ass son. He rocked his fucking jaw, and I'll beat the fuck out you. Like, I know I got that level of father in me. Like, I will literally beat the fuck out of this field. And yes, my son knocked your fucking son the fuck out. And then he did the little teabag fucking dance that you do from Call of Duty. And then that's mine, bitch. Yeah.
Where you think he learned it from?
Yeah, like, can't wait for my, like, whatever my daughter, like, oh, she crossed your shit, like, fuck you, bitch. And then, but in my mind, I'm like, if you wanted to play 40 years, I just got to figure out how do I transition, like, that level of, because it'd be like, yeah, that's right, nigga, we on second base. And I want him to continue that because he can play for 40 years, but he's just not going to give me, like, I ain't knocking nobody out in baseball, but I'm going to support you. Or, like, yo, I want you to, like, you can play soccer because I just know your career has potential to last longer. But, like, in my mind, I have, like, fucking blow it up. Like, I would still be the dad. I feel like I would still be the dad. My son's a professional gamer. And he, like, got, like, he went 30-0 on Call of Duty, and we're at a fucking competition, and I'm yelling like this nigga scored a touchdown, and I'm proud because he won't get CTE, but part of me is like, I need to get this aggressive father shit the fuck out somewhere. I give fuck if my kid was playing chess. Like, yeah, he kinged you, bitch! That's right! That's right! I feel like that would be.
You got to watch from the dad box.
Yeah, they would have to give me
create a special dad box for you to yell and kick and scream and celebrate and all that stuff.
Yeah, I would be like, that's what because I think about, like, in my mind, I'm like, I would love to do, like, the football thing, but also I just sometimes look how football players are managed, and you see somebody who's amazing in college, and they might get mishandled for whatever variety of reasons, just injuries, or, I'm sitting there like, man, he put his body on the line, and this nigga, as a basketball player, like, bent his toe wrong for, like, 6 months, and Andrew Bynum, was like, I'm kind of just going to sit here and be hurt, and arguably made more money in that time frame than a superstar football player in that time frame. And I'm like, in my mind, I struggle with, like, if I came with, like, a super athletic kid, would I really put a football in their hands? In my mind, I'd be like, I would love to see you knock the fuck out of somebody, but if I give you this glove and this bat, motherfucker, you can play till you're 50 and make fucking top, and not even just play till you're 50, make triple double what the fuck you would make as a superstar football player. And you get, it's like, and I'm just like, shit, it's, logistically, nigga, it's a no-brainer. And unless you're in the baseball crowd, I might get lucky enough to, not have you be like a fucking just pariah, because it's just like, motherfuckers love watching football, they love watching basketball, so it's like, and you might not be as famous. You're gonna be famous because, in this fantasy of you being a pro player, but it's like, it's baseball, so you could probably still fly under the radar and just live a semi-normal life. I'm like, I couldn't pass that up for my kid. I'd be like, nah, man, I need you to just play ball. And
I think I'd give my kids the opportunity to play and enjoy every sport, just from a developmental aspect, and this kind of weigh out all the options with them and see where they fit. Now, granted, that's on a more serious note. That's kind of where the mental health aspect comes into play, because it's like, I have to help you understand how you're receiving all this information and how it applies to whatever you're going to do later on down the line, because you're not exactly in the right mental space to make the best decisions.
Yeah.
And I'll use myself, because when I was younger, I was not trying to play tackle football. Like, I wasn't trying to do it. And my dad was, all city football player, rings and all this other stuff, and went to JUCO because they had me early and all that other stuff. So football was definitely like, you want to play football this year? Like, every time I would visit in Berkeley, especially because my cousin played, Pop Warner for the Berkeley Cougars, he would go watch my cousin at practice. My dad coached football for high school and Pop Warner out there, so he would always be like, you trying to get out there? And I'd be like, no, I play basketball. I'm cool. Mind you, I'm the chunky kid. So me being the big chunky kid, I thought I was going to be super tall. I turned out to be only 6'4". So me being 6'4" and stockier than everybody else, that's not exactly basketball size. I'm little in basketball by comparison.
Niggas are giants.
They are giants. Like, I've met Baron Davis when I was like, in high school 6'4", and I met Baron Davis, and I was like, he's the little dude on the court. He's the same size as me.
Just
like same height. Like, I'm stockier than him, but he's the little guy on the court, and I'm the same. I'm not going to play basketball. Let's just football it is. But I say that to say I was actually better at baseball. I got a scholarship and got to do pro football and all that other stuff, but baseball I was way better at than any other sport. I said, fuck baseball.
Me and my mom talk about that a lot, and my uncle, because my uncle played, when he was in high school and stuff like that, and he was like into music and stuff, so his life's fine. But just the conversation of how we got away, it seems like culturally, away from baseball, which, and I think about that too, like, if my kid was to choose baseball, like, even that to me sometimes is like a thought about like some of these clear like racial issues that come with the sport you play. Because if you like, just taking it all the way up to pro league to the like, professional level, clearly it would seem like basketball, you have more free space to be outspoken. You can be a fucking LeBron, you can be a CP3 and wear like the black stuff, and you could be a fucking, Kyrie, who's like, I saw a meme today, it was like, Kyrie would get up there and score 40 points, you look in his face and look like he's in the middle of trying to figure out how to rearrange society for the betterment of people. And it'd be like, no disrespect, but it looks like football is like clearly pulling teeth, and even then the things that happen seem performative. But now when I think about the benefit, like we just said, all these great financial benefits of playing baseball, but it's like, shit, in baseball, nigga, like, I don't really know like what the fuck that culture is like, because they, baseball still culturally not ours. Like, it's, if you white, or if you a person, if you a person of color, you could be as, I can say all day, like, you black, you got dropped off early. Them niggas will put every kind of whatever.
Everybody on the diaspora.
Yeah, I'm everything else just to kind of, not to take away from culture, but they be like, I'm not black. Like, you got a lot of, it's a lot
Dominican,
of.
I'm Cuban, I'm Puerto Rican.
It's a lot of Sammy Sosa shit out there.
Sir, you are the same complexion as me.
I would think about, damn, what the fuck would I really like, or would you have to endure being a baseball player and being even remotely into, like, the, like, I would wonder, like, what it's like, what's the dude for the Dodgers? Like, Mookie
Betts.
Yeah, what his experience like, because he seems to be like, I'm into, like, us, like the black shit, like, so it's like, I'm like, I wonder what it's like to be you, because I don't know baseball, so I'm speaking from a completely ignorant space, but it doesn't seem like in baseball that there's just this culture of, like, it's big culture in basketball, sort of, it's, I'm gonna say it as long as I don't get in trouble in football, and baseball it might be like, we're gonna wear these goddamn Jackie Robinson jerseys, y'all can shut the fuck up.
So here's my perspective. I think who's in control plays a large role of it. Now, because of, and I'll give shout out to the bros, Jordan. If it wasn't for Jordan making as much money with shoe deals and endorsements and things like that, I think he helped, and the Showtime Lakers helped propel black basketball athletes into this realm of where we can be cultural figures within the world, and we're looked at for more than just being athletes. Like, I have weight that sometimes is bigger than the league, so you may be the owner, but what I say goes to a degree, at least for while I'm here. And because you can have a pretty lengthy career in basketball, that's a lot of wiggle room that you can kind of play with.
Big on leveraging your platform here.
Most definitely. Football, I say football, based on what I noticed in my time, it's more of like the stereotypical black blue-collar mentality. These motherfuckers going to use me, so I'm going to use them to get this paycheck for as long as I can, and then once my time is up, I'm out. So you're willing to subject yourself to more bullshit simply because I ain't going to be here that long.
I think on the flip side of that, too, because I saw a clip from the I Am Athlete podcast, and I think niggas doing a great job just flat out. Them motherfuckers having conversations. But one of the conversations they were having is, and I don't remember what episode or what clip this was, but discussing the business of football and how it is like, I need to get this bread. I need to, pull from them, what I can and get in and get out. Cause you do know, you're on borrowed time.
Right.
As motherfuckers still to this day, like having conversations don't necessarily, you'll still get eyebrow raises when you talk to somebody about what the actual, don't look at the super duper stars, the time frame of what somebody really does in the league. I'm like, bro, it's still like 3 to 5?
Unless it depends on position.
Yeah.
It depends on position. As far as the stars are concerned, hey, what's going on?
Like Tom Brady's a freak of freaks.
Quarterbacks tend to have pretty lengthy careers, with the exception of mobile quarterbacks and quarterbacks that have absolutely shitty offensive lines.
Yeah.
If you got a shitty offensive line for the few years that you're there, your body's going to get beat up. If you're a mobile quarterback, your body's going to get beat up. But if you're the stereotypical white pocket passer and you got a decent line, your career is going to be relatively lengthy.
Yeah.
Running backs, wide receivers, it's a different situation. O-linemen can have pretty lengthy careers. As long as you just keep yourself in shape and you ain't getting beat up too much, you're okay. Defensive linemen, it kind of depends on the need. Safeties and cornerbacks also kind of depends on the need and how your ACLs hold up.
That part.
But for the most part, it's a 3 to 5 range, especially because you got so many people coming in every year. Like every recruiting class, we have hundreds upon hundreds of people coming in here.
Man.
You can be replaced at any given time, but that kind of feeds more into the mindset.
That's what I was going to. It's I guess, two sides to how, and even how like that, since, sprinkling some mental health on there, how that plays into the like psyche of an athlete, or especially a football player, because it's like, one, business, get in, get out. So you do kind of walk around feeling, expendable. And on the flip side, from fucking Pop Warner, high school, college, and even still into the pros, they try to give this narrative of, because that's how they kind of try to do like the cap thing, like you're making all this money, like you're betraying like your family,
right? And
football is a family, football is a team, and you get in there and they sell you on this, and motherfuckers try to buy into the gym. I'm trying to do everything I can to support this team because they gave me an opportunity. Please, master, please, and it feels like I want to help out my family and like do good for them. And I imagine shit motherfuckers don't talk about like the flip side of you sell me and buy me into this family shit, which is really kind of manipulative.
It is.
Only to say, all right, man, your stats wasn't really hot, and there's this new motherfucker coming out that we could probably flip the script on. You need to get the fuck on. And you just kind of be bouncing around teams like you've gone your entire career up until this point built on the closeness with these individuals. I've played with this nigga in high school all 4 years because we're a family. I understand the transition to college, but I played with these individuals, developed a brother because we're a family. I get to this job now, and y'all selling me on family, but you dump me in a shit. If I'm lucky, a year, a season, say a couple of seasons. If I have a bad season, some of you motherfuckers, you didn't dump me mid-season.
Right.
And motherfuckers got to deal with, well, fuck, man, what the fuck is this shit? This is not a family. I would imagine that that's like severely like.
It can be demoralizing for sure. And it definitely can put some people in a mental health space that's not only going to affect their play, but it's going to affect the trajectory of how they finish their career and make it after that. And that's not even just on a pro level. That's collegiate as well. Because, again, every year you got multiple recruits coming in. Something happens to you. Like, you can be a close-knit family as far as players are concerned or positions are concerned. Like, we're cool because, we the DBs or, we whatever. So you're close-knit with that. But say you get hurt, you don't have the ability to interact with everybody the same and have the same level of camaraderie with them. So now you're kind of put to the back burner, not because they don't love you anymore, but we can't practice with you. We can't, like, we're focused on this and you're over there focusing on getting better. There's only so much we can do as far as participating with you, which can make somebody feel left out. Now that's on the coach, whatever position coach or head coach, it's on the coach to create that unity, to create, kind of just like that interaction that people need to feel like it's a family. Like I went through that when I got a scholarship and went to a 4-year. Like I'm coming from, say, here in El Camino, we were the factory. We're winning all the games. I think we went 22-2 in 2 years. Won the state championship, got a ring and all that. But we made sure that every Friday we had potlucks, not just for the team, like our family members and everybody. Anybody that wants to come and participate in the Friday potluck can come. that's a big family, not just for us as players, but our actual bloodlines can come together and fellowship and support one another. People are sitting with each other and people are inviting other people to come and eat. And then I go from that to being in Ohio, where it's like, I know some of these country motherfuckers is racist shit. But like, I remember my position coach, at the time I kind of shrugged it off, but I remember my position coach being like, yeah, I like my D lineman like I like my coffee. And I was like, okay, that lets me know who I'm dealing with. And that was going into my senior year, whereas, mind you, I came in, I'm fired up. Like, I think the first game I really, really got to play was against Kentucky. Mm-hmm. Didn't get to play much against Iowa State, which is the first game. I played against Kentucky. We were going against a Heisman runner, or like he's up for the Heisman that year. I forget the dude's name, like Andre something. And that was like my first sack on national television and all this other stuff. And I'm fired up because it's like, yeah, we're the lower mid-level D1 team, but we're going up against this really good D1 team, and we can serve them up. And then we started losing, and I could see the shift in everybody's faces. And I'm still fired up, and everybody else is like, whatever. And that let me know, like, oh, this is a cultural shift. And then I look to the coaches, and it's like, what are the coaches doing to facilitate that? They didn't do anything else. Coach from El Camino, shout out to Coach Feather, now has Alzheimer's, so definitely love him because his memory is gone. But sideline all game long, I don't care who you are. You could be the third string. Hey, get up. Get that long. Like, he's going to make sure he encourages everybody. All the other coaches make sure they encourage everybody. Like, it was a family net situation, which affects your mental health on and off the field. It makes you want to invest yourself more into this situation. And he would always tell us, this is the last time you play for fun. And sure enough, I got to a 4-year, like some of my players, my teammates, we were close-knit. But as far as the culture of the team, our coaches were not setting that tone.
Yeah, see, and that is like a danger, I guess, of just thinking how many coaches out here. Because you know, it is a job. It is to be taken seriously. It is to get wins. But there has to be some form of this game is, you know, how motherfuckers talk about it. We have now the opportunity where somebody is flat out literally like, you know, not to say they don't love their job, but you don't have to deliver for FedEx. You don't have to do whatever these insert jobs that we, you know, necessarily look down upon as being hard work jobs. You, at the end of the day, you're playing a game, but I'm coaching a game for a fucking living, making anywhere from hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars depending on my program. The least I can do is facilitate a fucking an environment of, I don't know, and this might be me trying to take, you know, save the worldness, but it's like, come on, you can at least try to build men.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Build good environments for them to grow and be better people, as opposed to, I need this motherfucker to win games.
Right.
Like, I need y'all to win games. Because I'm like, I mean, at on the flip side, I guess it can if you're some type of perceptive fucking 19-year-old, which exists, but, you know, like, you're preparing now for that. If I'm good enough to make it to the next level, I might have to throw out all this motherfucking ho-hum lock arm shit, and I got a job to do. You got a job to do. We show up, we clock in, we clock the fuck out, which, you know, you're still playing football, so it's I think not terrible, but yeah.
You can throw the age factor in there when it comes to sports, but I think people in general, whether we're talking about sports or in regular life, like, people can tell when you are genuinely for their betterment and you have their best interests at heart, and when you're not. Like, I could tell. We maybe had 2 or 3 coaches that we know they were for building character people, and they were going to hold us accountable, and we can come and talk to them when we needed them. But on the grand scale, as far as our coaches were concerned, it was like, nah, y'all here to try to build a better reputation to get to a bigger university and a better check. This is a stop for you, and we can tell that that's what that is. Like, mind you, my perspective was, I'm coming from JUCO, where, like, this dude he coached my dad and up to me, and has been winning championships for forever, making way less money than y'all, but is winning way more games, but has a different mindset where I'm here to build men. I don't care if you get a D1 scholarship or an NAIA offer. I'm going to make sure you leave here as the best possible person that you can be, and I support you, and I'll never forget what you're doing, and whatever it is that you go on from here, I want you to come back. I want you to talk to the players. You're always a part of this family. To going to another situation where it's like, oh, y'all just hired y'all homeboys because it's like, all right, we're coming from a smaller school to another small school. This is a transition onto a bigger school.
Mm-hmm.
But y'all not really invested on building character people. Like the head coach has to tell position coaches to make sure you invite people over to dinner that you're coaching. Like your coach shouldn't have to tell you to do that to build a better culture for the team. Like we can tell. I think now granted I'm a little bit biased. At the time I'm studying psychology for undergrad. So I'm picking up on all of this shit, which is affecting me. Because it's like, damn, I'm 2,000 miles away from home. Mental health shot. I keep earning the starting position. Y'all keep taking it away. Keep earning it. Keep taking it away. Because as you said, there's this new kid that comes in. I'm a run stopper. I can shut shit down from these realms, but I'm not going to get you 10, 15 sacks or, 4 sacks in a game. That's not me. I'll make sure they don't get past this line, though. But you get somebody else I'm going to blow 10 positions, but I'm also going to blow 10 assignments, but I'm going to get you 4 sacks. Oh, let's put him in there.
Oh, yeah, that's the big money so shit.
That's the big money
thing. That's the touchdown.
That's the thing.
Defense.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It makes us look better. So that's eating away. The culture is eating away at the situation, and I think that's what continues to breed the mindset of, man, I'm going to just do what the fuck I got to do and get on up out of here. Because I got that my senior year, which affected me. I went from being a verbal leader, team captain, this, that, and the other, blah, 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 to being the guy that was just quiet. I'm not going to say nothing. When I do get in, I'm going to go get my plays and handle my business for me because I already know this asshole coach over here, blah, blah, blah. Like I started to manifest all these things for myself because I had a negative perspective that was instilled in me by the culture that I was surrounded by, which is led by the people that are supposed to be in charge. I think that's extremely common in football, especially because there's so many people on a team. Basketball, it's not that many people on a team. Soccer, it's not that many people on a team. Football, you got 111 plus people on a team, not to mention another 15, 20 coaches. You may not get the nurturing that you need when you're going through a certain mental health struggle. And you may not, especially as a kid, you may not even know how to communicate it.
Absolutely.
How do I go to my coach and tell them like, yo, coach, I'm struggling with this? Or if I'm comfortable doing that, I may not even know that this is the right coach to do it. Like those 3 coaches I mentioned, we all knew we can all go to these coaches. All of us can go to these coaches and talk to them. But can we do that with every coach? Hell no. That's part of the issue.
They take it out on the field.
Right. Whatever frustrations you got, take it out on the field. But motherfucker, if I ain't getting in the game, how can I do that? That's part of my frustration. Or even being able to nurture a quality person and say, hey, you're better utilized in this position. What do you feel? How can we help you better yourself? Like having those conversations were important. I think that's kind of what pushed me into mental health was me understanding how pivotal it is in sports in general, but especially in football, especially because it's a predominantly black dominated sport. Mm-hmm. Young black men not getting the space that they need to be able to talk about their mental health. And then next thing you know, I have all this pressure put on me with the carrot of dangling some money and stability with my face, but I have to maneuver through this mental health and physical, performance situation to even attain that.
I wonder how much positive or negative mental health shit comes from like being under Belichick, because it would seem like, he doesn't seem like the most talkative or whatever dude, but as far as like having confidence and not having those anxieties with how you play.
Right.
Because Belichick could take a nigga that works at a gas station and turn him into a top tier wide receiver. It seems like I'm very good at pinpointing you're good at these shorten ends, and we're going to shorten in the fuck out these motherfuckers.
Right.
And then I realized the other day that this nigga can do a shorten out. So I'm just going to place you niggas in ways where it looks like you're doing a shorten out, but I just really got you close to the sideline over here. You still doing a shorten in because all you can do is turn left. So now I'm making you feel like a superstar. I think I know that probably has issues or seems like they've had issues in the past with niggas who came from, but also coming from the culture of I'm a super mega star on this team because I handle my shit the way I handle it. And it might not add up to the Belichick way. So I don't know. Sometimes it seems like it's painted as a negative, because, you got superstars that come in and can't handle it. But it's like, shit, man, Belichick might have broke the matrix by making that, like you say, like, I understand your skill set. and I'm going to blow this fucking skill set up because I know how to maneuver it and use it.
I mean, I think that's in any aspect of life that we all have to figure out how to do it, especially in the mental health world. When we step into the realm of whether you're doing case management or therapy or whatever the case is, you always have the mindset of meet people where they are.
Right, where the fuck they at.
Meet them where they are, figure out what they're best at, make sure that you have some sort of a solution-oriented mindset that you're instilling in them, and you're also coming from a strength-based approach, right? It's the same thing at coaching. I know that you're not good at this, but you're great at this. So this is how we're going to utilize you. And like Belichick says, do your job. This is your job. Don't focus on anything else. Focus on this because this is your job and this is what's going to make you successful. I think a lot of coaches miss that because you come across athletes or this abundance of athletic people and you're like, oh, here's my expectation. Let's meet my expectation, which a lot of us do in our regular lives, in conversations and relationships, in our goals and dreams and desires. We create an expectation of this situation has to meet what I want, as opposed to understanding all these little different pieces. This is good for here. Let me put that there. This is good for this. Let me put that there.
That actually is a good parallel to relationship, because just thinking about like putting these expectations, thinking that this specific thing will create, for instance, touchdowns being a parallel to happiness in relationship.
Right.
That this motherfucker has speed, he can jump up and catch. What we do is throw bombs. And not understanding that with this team, with this structure, if you made this person just, a little short route person and maybe a bomb here, shit, they can do fucking some play action shit, just using them in different ways would still get you those touchdowns, but you're so laser focused on, I need big, giant bomb plays, when really you could probably nickel and dime this shit. You want your team to be this super passing team and maybe y'all are a running team, and you're just not taking those aspects into account.
And that's partly what used to demoralize me. So me coming from the MAC conference, we were predominantly, at the time, every school within the MAC conference was pretty much a run team.
Mm-hmm.
But you're putting in the guy that's a great pass rusher. Yes, he's getting tons of sacks, and that looks good, and it helped him get, a shot at the league and all that other stuff for a couple years. But me, I stop runs. That's their strength. I should be here. There's a reason why I keep earning the starting position. Why? Because I fit into what needs to be done. Now, not selfish, because I don't really care. I still coached up whoever was going to be in front of me. I had moments where I was starting some games, moments where I didn't. But if I'm in a situation where my strength should be utilized, why are you putting in somebody else that doesn't fit with that? Makes absolutely no sense. So said person, he'd get in there, love him to death, but he would blow tons of assignments and they'd overlook it because you got us some sacks or you got some big tackle for losses, which is great. And then we go to the grading out point, and I would always be in the 80s and 90s% because I did my job, and he'd be somewhere in the 70s, but he's starting, and I'd be like, oh. And then trying to get him to understand, bro, just do this.
She's really trash to be with, but she's a bad bitch.
Right.
He's not really anything that really feeds me in any way, but he got the bag, he got money, and that's what's important. This person can meet my expectation, even though my expectation isn't the best suited for this situation. Nope. Because it looks good. It feels better. It gives me my wants. But my needs get missed because I'm not tapping in with understanding how to meet somebody where they are, communicate effectively with them, and actually get them to be vulnerable with me for the betterment of us as opposed to the fulfillment of me. I know that seemed like a lot of sports talk today, but see, we always tie it in. It makes sense. It makes sense. You may not get all the football analogies, but this applies to everything in life. Understanding how to put things in the right position, understanding how to make sure that you know your strengths and weaknesses, being able to be in the right culture that is actually going to foster a healthy, positive mindset and demeanor for you is going to lead to a better, successful situation. That's all I got, man. I thought you said that. That was good. We had a good show. Y'all had some good stuff. There's some stuff in there. You sort through it. Find you some good stuff. Appreciate you listening.
Thank you.
That's always
Thank
good.
you guys for listening. Remember, if you got a short memory, you got one day off from us, which is tomorrow. And then come Monday evening.
Listen to us. Let it wash over you.
And then come on back.
Tell Jesus to smack you on the ass one time and send you right to Monday to deal with us.
Or Buddha or Allah or
Anyone.
Krishna, whoever it is that you believe in.
Beyonce sandals, I don't care who you pray to, as long as you come back on Monday.
Please don't praise Beyonce like she's your deity. Do not do that.
All right.
Do not. Whatever. Don't. Just, we'll see y'all Monday. We'll see you Monday. Take your burdens to the Beyonce altar.